Am I live on Instagram yet? Okay. I don't know why it's not working. Can you hear me on Instagram? Okay. All right. All right. Okay, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Phil from PDQ Merch Enterprises and the ATM Mastermind Group page. And we are going live tonight. We go live every other Monday night at 6 Central Time. And we talk about a variety of ATM topics that you guys have asked for. And and tonight we are talking about what are we talking about? We're talking about keep track of things like how much money you're making and how often your ATMs are used, and use this information to make smart choices in business. Addison, if you're there, can you get me some water because I'm getting thirsty? All right. Been in the ATM business for about 25 years now. We started with one ATM. Now we manage over several thousands of ATMs. I'm a registered ISO, which means we register with a sponsor bank, which is PB&T, formerly known as Pueblo Bank and Trust. And that allows us to process ATM transactions, not only for us, for other people, just as yourself, down in the ATM land. Thank you. Excuse me. We sell ATMs, we process transactions, we sell parts, we repair ATMs. So basically, we're your full one-stop shop for all your ATM needs. We're just helping you out to start an ATM business, to the senior player who's been in the ATM business for years, but they need some additional services of parts and wireless devices or signs or repairs. We provide any and all that to you. We also coach and consult how you grow your ATM portfolio to the next level, whatever that level is. Again, I've been in the business for 25 years. I've grown many ATM portfolios from nothing to hundreds, in this case, thousands of ATMs throughout the country. So we're seasoned veteran and know our way around the ATM industry. So I put a link in the comments. So if you guys are interested in starting your own ATM business, a good place to start is in the link. And you can contact us anytime to help you facilitate any and all of your ATM needs. If you guys have a question throughout this live, just please post it in the comments and we will get to your question as soon as we can. We'll take a we'll take a minute from time to time and look and see if there's any questions. If there is, then we'll answer those questions. So it doesn't have to be on this topic. It could be on any topic in ATM business. We're here for you guys. All right. So keep track of how much your ATMs are making and how often people use your ATMs. So we provide you with an ATM portal that lets you view your ATM in real time, anytime. Along with that, there is reporting. So you can sort by the day of the week. You can sort by the month. You can sort. You can also do the last 7 days or the last month. Or a lot of times, what I'll do is from time to time, about every 3 months. Pretty much, I do it every month. To be honest with you, I look at the trailing 3 months. What do we do? What do we do in the last 6 months? What do we do in the last 9 months? And the reason I do this is because I'm looking at trends. I'm looking at, is the ATM, is it trending up? Is it trending down? Is it seasonality? Is it not? What does it, and how does it look? We have ATMs around, let's say, around. I'm around the Chicagoland area. We have ATMs around Wrigley Field. And how does it look? Does baseball increase that ATM, those ATMs, or not? Does it have any effect? Because if the trend is up, and I'm looking at, hey, maybe this ATM, I need to cut this ATM. Is it because is it going up because of baseball, or is it having a negative effect because of baseball? And what does it look like? So you're constantly looking at trends, but you can do that with the portal that allows you to say, yeah, I got to make an educated decision. Do I pull the ATM, or do I leave it in place, or do I try to get more? Uh, do I buy a brand new ATM? A lot of times when you're in an ATM business, you have multiple ATMs. Not every ATM is what we call a home run or a banger, and some ATMs are not performing what we thought they would do. So instead of buying a new product, and I see beginners make this mistake, they get one ATM, they get two ATMs, they get three ATMs, and then instead of evaluating hey, this ATM isn't performing to the level that I need it to be, and then going out and finding another ATM, what they do is they buy another ATM, and then they have two ATMs that don't perform. I try to encourage you guys not to do that. Uh, our goal always is to do 100 transactions per month per ATM. And so if we don't reach those levels, that's an ATM that we would consider that would be on the weed list or the hit list to remove that ATM. Now, am I going to remove the ATM? Nope. I'm going to go out. I'm going to find another location. And then at that time, once I secured that location with the location agreement, then I'm going to look at one of those locations that I looked at the beginning of the month and said, look, I looked at the last 3 months. This ATM is stagnant. It's not doing the level that we're looking for. And then I go have a conversation with the owner, and I said, look, ATM isn't performing. We're going to pick that ATM up. And then we remove that ATM, bring it back into our our shop, clean it up, dust it off, go through everything, make sure everything is clean and working condition, reprogram that ATM, and then bring it to the new location for a new install. This saves us money for buying an ATM, and we're trying to increase that revenue from what we did at the previous location. Now people say, well, Phil, what do you do? How do you have that conversation? In our location agreements, it says if this ATM doesn't perform to the levels that we want, we can remove that ATM. So we removed it. Well, we have a conversation with the owner, and then remove the ATM. Now, sometimes, and this has happened, where the owner says, geez, I really want that ATM because of X, Y, and Z. What can we do? So then I have to make an evaluation, or now that I know that that could happen, I look at the numbers. And if the numbers would suggest, hey, even if I didn't get any commission to the location, what can we do? And will that make a difference? And if the answer is no, it doesn't make a difference in my business model, then I said, you know what, that doesn't work. It's not going to work out. In some instances, I have said to the owner, you know what, this ATM location isn't for me, but I have a friend who's also in the ATM business that this might be of interest to them. And then what we do is I have that conversation. I also I pre-do this just in case, and I ask whoever is in that area. I said, look, I got a location. I'm doing this right now. I got a location. It's in your area. I don't want it anymore. I want to pull out. We can do it one or two ways. I can either sell you the ATM and you can leave. I can leave it there. You don't have to do anything, or I can pull it out and you can put your ATM in there. So what would you like to do? Person says, you know what? I just want to buy. I'll buy the ATM at the location. We don't have to re-drill. We don't have to move it. We can just go there, reprogram it. I go in there. I change my locks. He puts his in there. And that's it. I already have the location agreement signed. I just assign him over the contract, and away they go. And he retains ownership, and from there. And it just depends on what, does that make sense for me at the time, or it makes sense for the customer. But we're constantly looking at, and we're evaluating. We're constantly, I'm just looking to see if there's any, if we have any, questions. Nope, no questions. Okay. So we constantly are evaluating the stops, because at the end of the day, it costs money to buy an ATM, parts cost money, and I don't need a bunch of dog locations. I'm in the ATM business to generate revenue. We have certain thresholds, and that's what we do. But you got to constantly evaluate that. The other thing is what other what other significant things are from the location. Um, we're up north. There's some seasonality to some of the locations. We do have some golf courses, so I know that the golf courses are. We're here in September. We just got done with most golf leagues are wrapping things up right about now. So they usually play into about the second week of September. And then the last 2 weeks of September, they have their play dates, their end of the season banquets and things of that nature. So I know that end of September is a big, and sometimes the first week in October. And then you know what? It slows way down. It gets dark here. Right now it's like 6 o'clock. It'll probably stay light until 6:30. But guys who are working, they don't get to play golf anymore after work because the golf, it's usually dark by 6:30. So guys are working at 5 o'clock. It's not going to work unless you got an early job where you get off at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So I know that the golf courses go down. Are really only good until end of October, and then pretty much November, December are really slow. January, of course, January, February, and then March we open it back up. What do we want to do? Sometimes the golf course, depending on the facility, they are open for weddings and parties and Christmas parties up until Christmas, and then they shut down January, February. Do I want to remove the ATM? Do I not? And sometimes we do remove it. We move the ATM out. I put it into another spot, and then come March, we'll put a new ATM into that location, so I don't have to buy an ATM, and I don't have an ATM just sitting there. Sometimes we leave it. We have a couple private country clubs that what we do is we leave it there because they do have Christmas parties. They have they might shut down for January, but then they have big parties in February, Valentine's. They have some husband and wife, or I don't know, maybe husband and wife, but they have Valentine's Day parties. They have some weddings in February. So we leave the ATM there. So those are the things that you got to look at when you're making an evaluation. But we chose to go into those golf courses, so I knew what they were all about, anyways, for those type of venues. And do we take a chance? Now, a lot of times, I will tell you, maybe in the northern part, maybe that's not a spot you want to put an ATM in, because a golf course is not. It's going to do somewhere between 700 and maybe 1,200 transactions a month. Or not a month, but a year. So it just depends on what does it look like? Is it fit your business model? I know that November, December, January, February are going to be dog months here in the ATM business, but the other times it's going to do pretty good. Do you want to take that chance? You guys got to consider that. All right. So then, how do I make knowing this? What I'm going to try to do is minimize my my new purchase ATM of buying a new ATM, because I know I have some locations that aren't cutting the mustard. They're not where they want. And what do I want to do? I'm out in the community. We take that ATM, we put it in a new location, therefore minimizing my new investment of ATMs. And you're always looking for that that new location that generates you revenue. Now, one of the challenges with the ATM business is you have to get new locations all the time. If you're not getting new locations, you'll be subject to getting one or two or three locations, and then now you're tapped out. How do I get some more? I went to the regular community. I went to the barbershop, the tattoo place. I went to convenience stores. I got my thing, but guess what? I can't get any more. And this is where I try to teach you guys, you have to have other ways to bring in additional locations. Either that's networking, or that's cold calling, or that's running ads. You have to do something to constantly bring in new business. That's with any business. That's why if you look on the TV, there's always commercials, because they're trying to get new business on and on and on. And you have to do the same thing in your ATM business. You have to get new business if you want to grow. If you want to stay stagnant, then that's fine. And it is what it is. You're going to make whatever you make on your one to however many ATMs. But I found that if you're not always growing the ATM business, it becomes stagnant, and then over time you will lose your locations. It just happened the other day to us. We had a gas station. We were in there for 10 years. Um, we After we had the ATM in there for 5, we made a good money. Then a new owner said, "Look, I want to buy my own ATM." Okay, fine. We sold in the ATM. We were still doing service on the ATM, still made some money, residual plus we get called for. We made money on the service, and then what happened is the new owner says, "Look, I'm going to. I already own the ATM. I'm going with somebody else. We have a location agreement, but we had a processing agreement, but it was based on a corporation. They didn't go with the corporation. Contracts null and void. The owner let me know. I tried to make a pitch a new for the new owner. The new owner said I already had my ATM guy, and so that was it. So we were done, but we were in there 9 years. We were there, and hey, things they sell, and from time to time you're going to lose locations. So what do we do? We pick up another location, and but at least you can evaluate, and you need to evaluate based on the numbers. Does this make sense? The other thing is you have to look at, and I was looking at this the other day, is where are my surcharges at? My surcharges are at $3. Some are at 3.25. A few are at 3.50. Okay. Well, in my area, we can raise our surcharge. I know when I look at New York, a lot of guys are there still $2. Maybe they're at New York City or whatever. But I noticed that we can. You know what? I always look around. I go from city to city, and I notice this 350 is becoming the norm. So you know what? We can raise some of our surcharges, not everywhere, but a lot of places to 350. This will give us an extra some more revenue. And then what we do is we talk to the location owner. We're going to maybe share some of that increase, or maybe we don't, depending on the location. All right. Do you have additional security added for your ATMs? Does business owners allow you to install security cameras? All right. So we do have additional. It depends on the neighborhood and where we're at. I don't know if I got it here. I don't think I do. So we went to a bigger. I don't have it here. We went to a bigger a, a a bigger bolt in the ATM. That's one thing we went to, a deeper and a thicker bolt. We did that. Second thing we did is there are some wireless companies that put on alarm systems on your ATM where if they nudge it or they cut the power, and there's a tracking device. So we went, especially in Chicago, and some of the neighborhoods are a little bit rougher. And sometimes you look at the neighborhood and they're like, this is a little sketchy. I don't like the way it looks or it feels. And so we add those security devices. So if they shake it or they move it or they touch it, it sends an alarm off. And then it also has a tracking device if they steal it. And then we also, in some instances, we put enclosures around the ATM. So we had a liquor store that I went in there, and the guy said, "Hey, I put the ATM in there, and I noticed there's holes in the ground. What happened here?" And the guy said, "Oh yeah, the ATM got robbed." Okay, so what happened to that guy? Well, he's not coming back. That's the guy who put the ATM in there. So we put the ATM in there, and I put bigger bolts, and I put an enclosure around the ATM to secure it. So didn't hear anything. We've been in there for maybe 2 years, and the guy called me up and said, "Hey, I wanna move the ATM." So they actually didn't call me, call the office. Well, I don't know, we were like 10 minutes from the place. We were doing an install, me and another guy. So we went over there, and the guy said, "Holy mackerel, is that service?" I said, "Wait, hold on. I can't move it today, but what we can do is I want to understand why. What did you want? Where did you want to move? What was the situation?" He said, "Well, the ATM has to move like this much." And I said, "Okay, why?" And he said, "Away from the wall." And he said, "Because we're going to get a security inside the store. We can't put it on the outside. We're going to put it inside a roll down where we can add some extra security to the store. And I said, yeah, that makes sense. That's great. I love it. I said, well, why are you doing this? And they said, well, because we've been robbed twice. And I said, well, what? And they didn't take the ATM because we had an enclosure. What they did is they came in, they took his high end liquor. He had, I don't, Don Julio, I don't know, maybe Patron. He told me, but I'm not a tequila guy. So he said, he took all my Highland tequilas. Some of the high end tequilas are $1,000, $2,000 a bottle. I mean, oh my goodness. But so I don't know which brand. I'm just saying those are the ones I know, but that's probably wrong. So they came in, they were in the store, they busted the door. They came in, took his high end tequilas, and then they got out. So he told me he's going to put a roll down because it's happened twice. He's done with it, and we have to move the ATM. So when they put the roll down, it comes down. Otherwise, you're going to hit the ATM. But I felt bad for him, but I felt good. Hey, we made the right decision because we put the extra bolts and we put the security thing and we had an alarm on it and we did all these things. We were very blessed by that happening to us that we didn't lose the ATM. I had another lady just last week call me. I mean, I guess just luckily I was up. She called me at 4 a.m. and that call is never a good call. You're like, oh, well, what happened? She told me they broke into the store. She had a currency exchange. They broke in. They tried to, she's going to go down there. The police are there. And I didn't see that. I said, well, I don't see that the ATM has been moved or anything, but I don't know. She got down there. She said, no, they didn't touch the ATM, but we had a security enclosure around that one too. So that has, I would believe that saved me twice because they see that they're like, I'll go somewhere where we can steal the ATM. So yes, I don't put cameras on it. Cameras don't do me any good. Cameras are a waste of time because the people who break in, they wearing a mask, they got hoodies, they wear gloves. The mask is the cameras don't do any good. Usually what they do is they also black out their license plate if they're so it doesn't do any good. We need to basically prevent this theft from happening. And we need tracking devices if they do. So those are extra security things that we do but yeah, you could put cameras in there. I don't know. It from my opinion, it doesn't do any good. And the funny thing is this one is I love when stores say, I'm going to put fake cameras up so people, they don't care. When they bust in there, the cameras don't do any good anyways. These again, everybody who steals, they usually have masks on anyways. So just to guys let you know. All right. Where are we? Okay. So those are the choices that I make, but it's based on I'm making those decisions based on the economics of what the numbers look like. And then I also look and see, hey, as trends go, I mean, we've been in ATM business. We started at $1.50, or actually $1, if you can believe it. Started at $1, then went to $1.50, $2, $2.50. Now I said, I think the norm is $3.50. And we're at $5 on mobile. So if you guys are doing mobiles, I highly recommend you go to $5 or $4.95 from the mobiles. Just because you know what, we need to set a premium out there for and you guys can do what you want. I'm just giving you a suggestion of what we do and how that works. So all right, I'm gonna check. I put a link in there for the course if you guys want that. I'm gonna look on Instagram just to see if there's any other questions. Let me see. Blah 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 blah. Hey Philip, okay. So if you guys have if you have any questions, please post them if you're on Instagram or if you on YouTube or Facebook. If you guys have any questions, if not, I just want to remind you that we are an ATM business. We sell ATMs, we process transactions, we sell parts, and if you guys need anything, you can always reach out to, and I'll put in there, give our website too. Oh, hold on. Oh my God. All right, so you guys can go to the website. Um, if you guys need anything, we have everything that you guys could possibly need in the ATM business. And or you just want to comment, you know what? And I want to thank you guys very much for joining our YouTube. We've been in the game. If you can believe it, we've been on social media for 5 years promoting the ATM business. So it's a big accomplishment. We've been posting anywhere from 1 to 4 videos a week. So I just want to thank you guys for all the love that you guys have shown us over the years, and thank you um, for all that support. It's been great. So if this was helpful, just please put a couple fire emojis in there in a chat or on Instagram. That would be great. And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Uh, we go live at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we're going to talk about next time. Let me see. Think about ways to make your business greater, and and if you're looking for hiring anybody, some tips and trick on hiring people to help you with your ATM business. So thank you guys very much. I will see you in a couple weeks, and as Auntie Val would say, that's it. That's all, says the clock on the wall. Thank you guys very much, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.